That's more like it. A big W for the Orange and Blue, beating up on the Nashville Predators 6-2. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the GCL Diesel Oil Street Postgame Show. Tom Gazzola, Ben Thomson with you. Shawn Belle is our game analyst. He'll be joining us momentarily. Of course, GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. Big win for the Oil. We want to hear your thoughts. I'm seeing a lot of Regula hate in the nasty chat before we even started the show. What gives? Join the conversation. Text us 780-218-9999 or hop into the nasty chat over on YouTube. Benny Thomson, that was a solid performance for the most part, not like throughout, but I mean, there was a good stretch in the first period where Nashville didn't get a shot for like a 10-minute span. I think they got one like in the last, I think there was 6 minutes left, and then the Oilers started turning over the puck in their own zone. Nashville got a couple of opportunities. Ingram was decent in that ending to the first, and made that crazy save on Cole Smith, which was good. A couple get by him. The Preds looked like they had a little bit of life when they made it 4-2, two goals on 15 shots. It wasn't like a perfect game, but overall pretty solid. Some really nice offensive plays. McDavid, glorious once again, hat trick. Nugent Hopkins, 500th career assist, pretty good first overall pick, I would say, in 2011. And then Draisaitl gets a goal, and that was nice to see. Kapanen in his return was solid. Good night. That's a good night from the Oilers. They had a little bit of hustle in their game. And yeah, you heard Louis and Jack talking about it late on the broadcast that this was the end of a 7-game road trip for the Nashville Predators. They were holed up in Calgary. Most of the group was for 4 days before coming to Edmonton. And, some went to Banff, and maybe they couldn't recharge, or just you get mentally fatigued at the end of road trips. I've been on a lot of those ones, and I understand, you're in good hotels, you're sleeping in nice beds, accommodations are great, but you're drained by the end of it. And maybe the Preds run out of gas a little bit, but they did show some fight tonight, and the Oilers managed to hold the fort. And then when they needed to, got some goals to really ice this game. Benny, what'd you see tonight?
Yeah, a lot of same things. I think the first period was a little rough. They struggled with their breakouts quite a bit, and it was a little bit sloppy. It kind of just felt like one of those. It's kind of felt like the past couple of games where things weren't clicking. To me, what changed the game was Nashville goes on the power play, I believe, in the second period, and didn't really generate a whole lot. And then there was a push right after that penalty was done, and the Oilers just rode that wave.
Second line.
Yes. Basically rode that the rest of the game, and it was a big turnaround for this team. That's a big win. They needed that one. I mean, we've been talking about this. It's a big storyline the past couple of days. Is the depth scoring and the impact and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I can't name you a forward tonight that didn't stand out or didn't make a play that was like, oh, nice play, or like, oh, that's a big hit, or I felt like it was a very solid game for the Oilers, especially their depth. Like Ike Howard, I thought had some jump in him tonight. Savoy's making good plays. Yanmark starts the turnover on the Lazar goal. Lazar scores. I mean, Kapanen comes out in his first game in however many months and plays like he's been playing all year. So, to me, there's not a whole lot to be mad about. But at the end of the night tonight, it's a lot of the bad, narratives that's been going around with the Oilers. It was somewhat solved in tonight's game. Now that could be related to the two guys that were out of the lineup tonight, or maybe we're weighing this team down. Who knows? But it was a good win for the Oilers. Let's see if they can string some together here now.
Ice in the nasty chat says, amazing what happens when Henrik isn't killing your offense. Well, there's a lot of guys on top of Henrik who haven't had any offensive output this year, and Henrik did not finish this game. I think his last shift was 6 minutes into the first period. We'll see if we get an update. We didn't get anything formally from the Oilers in regard to when they usually tell us what's going on in game. We didn't get anything like that tonight. So we'll see if we get an update. Let's go to CMAC. Let's bring in Bellsy, he's ready to go. I'm going to read a couple texts and then we're going to hand it off to Bellsy. He's our game analyst for this 6-2 Oilers victory. C-Mac says, great night. Hattie by 97, 50, 500 assists for 93. Cheeks clapping in goal. But can we talk Ingram? He seems to be so quiet in the crease, making saves, and the big save when needed. Freezes the puck to calm things down when previous goalies would keep the play going. Lateral movement and battle are there in the crease. Let's see. What do we got here? Is Ice talking to me? Henrik has killed wingers for 3 years, Bud. Bud, if you are talking to me, Henrik had a 50-point season 2 seasons ago, so you might want to check your stats on that one. Let's go to DJ. DJ texts in, says, let's go Oilers. You guys got Shoresy tickets to give away. Cheers. I don't know. We'd have to talk to Dusty and Awanik to see if that is happening. But I know someone who's playing in that game, and he's with us right now. There's Shawn Belle. Bellsy, are you looking forward to this Shoresy game? You got some time to heal up. I know you're a little bit under the weather, but do you know anything about free tickets?
I don't know anything about free tickets. I do know that I'm honored to be playing in this game. I think there's a lot of alumni that want to play. So to be one of the guys selected, well, that feels kind of nice. It's probably because I'm one of the younger guys, but no, I have no idea about the younger tickets. The game today, it was a good game.
Yeah.
I kind of liked what the Oilers did. I thought their lines were really good. And I actually thought, and I don't want to, disrespect Henrik in any way, but when that line became Howard, Savoy, and Roslovic, then I really thought that the Oilers got another gear. It just, all 3 lines seemed like they were clicking. And I know, Benny, you kind of talked about the start, and the start was, I don't want to call it ho-hum, because it wasn't necessarily that. I thought it was a little bit better than that. Mm-hmm. But, it was just kind of back and forth. There were some chances each way. It was a little sloppy. But, yeah, as soon as they got to that second period, that game turned around, and basically the Oilers were skating downhill the rest of the night.
Are they removed from the post-holiday break slump? Rust?
Well, based
cobwebs?
On how they played today, well, especially in the second and third period, I would say yes. Now, you got to string a bunch of those games together for you to truly say, you're out of that particular slump. But once again, based off the way that they played against a team that was 7-3 in their last 10 and playing some really, defensive hockey, stifling hockey, aggressive hockey, they kind of made it a mockery because they just outskated them, they outcompeted them, and it was just like I just mentioned, they were skating downhill while the Predators were skating uphill all night, and it was a good game to watch because everybody, like Benny mentioned, was making plays, and it was just like it seemed like a bit of a tidal wave, or just kept going and going and going, and there wasn't much that the Preds could do.
All right, let's get into some of the nitty-gritty of this game. The Curtis Lazar goal, I was happy for Curtis personally, having known him for so long, and he gets back into the lineup. He mucks an ugly one shortly after the McDavid penalty shot goal. I thought that was a good moment. Savoy picking up an assist there. Janmark also a helper. And then Kasperi Kapanen scores a couple minutes later, his first of the season in his return after missing a ton of time since October. Draisaitl picking up an assist. Podkolzin picking up assists. Now, that is the second line, so you think you'd get some offense from them, and you did. The fourth line goal, we've been clamoring, media and fans alike, for some depth scoring. You sit out Mangiapane, you sit out Frederick, and oh, by the way, that line goes and gets a hardworking, greasy goal. A puck goes on net. And then there's Lazar putting home the rebound after it's Matt Savoy battling in front. Not the biggest guy, but he's in the opposition equipment, as Todd McClellan liked to say. And I think that's a good indicator there. And then I'm going to throw out the Brian Swain stat of the night. He texts us in pretty straightforward here, and it ties into the Kapanen goal. The Oilers are now 8-1-1, including the playoffs, when Kapanen scores. So he scored in 10 games, and they have a very high success rate and win-to-loss ratio when Kapanen gets involved. Bellsy, the depth, what can you say about it tonight?
Yeah, everybody was going. There wasn't any passengers tonight, and I think that's been a trend that has happened too often throughout the season, where you're carrying one, two, maybe even four, up to four guys a night, and you're not getting meaningful minutes out of those particular players. So it's a burden on the rest of the lineup. But today there didn't seem to be any passengers. Everybody was skating. Everybody was getting involved in the game. They took pucks to the middle of the ice. They won the house battle. So the depth really helped propel everything, because when the big boys got off the ice, like, you didn't necessarily have a break. Right. And there's been games in the past where, like some of these other guys have been getting on the ice and the opposition could kind of have a break. There wasn't that pressure. There wasn't that energy coming after you shift after shift. And you could kind of get through it. And then, okay, I'm going to brace myself again for, McDavid or Draisaitl. Tonight, it was very much the opposite. There was no break. Everybody was going after it. Everybody was forechecking. They were tenacious. It was good to see.
Okay, we're seeing a lot of comments about Regula. BP Tony, we're going to use BP Tony, his text to kind of highlight it. And he's not the only one bringing it up, saying, hey, only negative tonight was Regula not making good plays. Might have to send him down and get his game better. I feel for Benny for being bullied by you and Belzy. Come on now. We do it with kindness from the bottom of our heart.
Here we go. Okay.
I haven't even said anything.
I know. Regula, I actually noted in the second period that he had made some good plays. Now, he also made some bad plays. And this is a guy, I think he's 49 games into his NHL career, and there's been a lot of spotlight on him because he probably shouldn't be in your second pair. And he's paired up with Darnell Nurse, who can be erratic, as we know. And I'm being nice here. And it's a roller coaster ride with Nurse. At least it has been this year again. What can you say about a guy trying to figure it out in his first full NHL season?
Have we not seen this movie play out in Edmonton multiple times?
Yes.
You insert him too high in the lineup. He's not ready for it. He struggles. His confidence disappears. His game disappears. I feel like we've seen it. And I can't remember. I can't put my finger on one of the 15 defensemen that it's happened to. So, hey, Regula, we maybe sit here and say, hey, he's not ready, or whatever that looks like.
Yeah. But
if he was playing as a six, would we have a different feeling?
Absolutely.
He was here and he was in the top four, and you have, Nurse and Wallman and Bouchard and Ekholm as your top four, and you had more sheltered minutes, would you think differently? And so I think he's elevated in the lineup a little bit too much because of the Wallman injury.
Yep.
So I don't know if he's as bad as we think. I just think he's in a spot where he's not being set up to succeed.
Yeah. That he is slotted with Darnell Nurse as a pair. But Stastny does have more ice time, although it is very close. It's only a 30-second difference between the two. But I mean, it's still about 2 and a bit more minutes than Emberson, which makes me wonder, like, when Wallman comes back, who's the guy that sticks? I'd imagine they still go Emberson Stastny, because that's been a D pair. I think they trust that D pair, and especially with how Stastny's been playing, he's been a very welcome addition since coming here. But Regula is getting 16 minutes a night. But Stastny does have a little bit more. But yeah, I'm with you. It's probably he's not playing in the proper role he should be playing. He should be a number 6 defenseman. Getting played kind of like as a 4 right now.
Yeah, Regula -2 tonight, 16:08 time on ice, 2 penalty minutes, 1 shot, 3 block shots, 1 giveaway, 1 takeaway, and he's taken some heat. It's hard to get away from it in this city. But at the same time, and I double check, it is his 48th career NHL game tonight. So I'll stand by this until they go and get another veteran defenseman. Guys, right now with Wallman out, they're playing Emberson, who has like 140-something career games under his belt, Regula, who now has 48, and Spencer Stastny, who's in and around 90 games under his belt. That's a lot of inexperience.
Yeah,
it
really is.
Yeah, and lately they've been winning more than losing. It hasn't been the prettiest, hasn't been the most satisfying victories, hasn't been the cleanest defensively. I'd paint it as growing pains for now until it becomes detrimental. Then I'd probably elevate it to status like orange, not quite red alert, but they're bending and not breaking. And yes, Regula has had struggles, but I remind people, second pair, 48 games under his belt in the NHL. Tough. That's kind of tough. Yeah. But let's see how he handles it too. I mean, some nights not great, other nights a little bit better. But it's a roller coaster ride for sure. All right, let's focus on some more of the positives as the Oilers win it 6-2. Leon Draisaitl, you guys, 3-point night, gets a goal off the schneid, eats up the Predators like he always does. Connor McDavid, the hat trick, beautiful goals. The first, all three of them were things of beauty. We said that if Draisaitl and that second line got going, then it should be a convincing night for the Oilers, and that certainly was the case. Does this awaken Leon Draisaitl, who admitted today he was having a tough go lately?
Do you want that, Benny? Or
I'll say quickly, like, I found he was moving his feet a little bit more. There were still some times where it's like, I feel like when Draisaitl's at his peak, he doesn't make that play. Or there was times where I still didn't think he was like at his best. But 3 points is 3 points, and especially when you had Podkolzin and Captain helping you out as well, it seems like they had some chemistry going. This was the best game he's had since the Christmas break. I still think there's another level for him, and I expect that to come in the next coming games, because this is a good stepping stone for him. It was a rough couple games there, so I don't think it's his best game we've seen, of course, but I still think it was a solid one.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think it was a really good game for him, but it just shows you and it highlights why it's so important for me that Draisaitl and McDavid are on their own lines.
Yeah.
Because if you got Draisaitl's line going, it's hard to now say, okay, hey, Roman Josi, go out and defend both lines. There's not enough time for him to do that, and you're going to wear him down. So he's got to go out and he's got to pick a line. So more often than not, it's probably going to be McDavid's line. But if McDavid's rolling like that, he's just going to tire out, top pairing guys. And then you've got Leon Draisaitl sitting there playing against, third, fourth defenseman. That's a favorable matchup. It becomes a matchup nightmare. Yeah. And you want to see that second line starting to fly around the ice. So it was nice. Getting Draisaitl going is going to be a big thing. And hopefully Kapanen continues to play the exact same way, because when he does stuff like that, he's pretty dynamic.
All right, Connor Ingram. Big saves. That one sequence, 15 seconds, 2 goals, kind of clawed Nashville to within 2, and you thought maybe they'd have a chance. I think the Oilers had a nice PK. They had a nice power play, or they had a power play opportunity to regain a 3-goal lead. Didn't score on that, but then eventually got another one from Draisaitl, and then McDavid scored that other one and really put the game on ice. But Ingram, compared to what we saw against Boston, Bellsy, how would you look at his game and assess it?
Calm, cool, and collected. Wasn't sliding all over the crease. He didn't look like he was fighting it. His movements were solid. He makes the saves when he needed. And there was that big save where the puck caromed off the back wall, and player got it, and he shoots it, and he's right there because he's not scrambling all over the ice. That to me was also a big game-changing moment, because they score that goal. Now they've got a little bit more momentum, maybe a little bit earlier, right? So he keeps the game close, or he keeps the game kind of out of reach. Yes, they got those 2 goals, but for the most part, he was so solid that they knew that they could kind of push on the offensive side a little bit more, because they were solidified on the back end.
Yeah. I thought I'm very happy to see that he bounced back. Because that was a rough game he had against Boston on New Year's Eve. It looked like tonight that he put it behind him. Joaquin Gage on the intermission called. He said Connor Ingram looked soft. not in a bad way, but in a pucks weren't flying off him, and he was able to use his rebound control to his advantage and swallow up pucks really well. So to me, it was a nice sign to see, and just makes that decision for the backup goaltending spot when Jari's back a lot more tougher.
Absolutely. All right, couple of texts here. Text us 780-218-9999. Nasty chat going strong like it normally is. That's good to see. We appreciate that. Hit the thumbs up as well. Stanley now back in YYC. Hope you had a good holidays in YEG. Stanley says, great solid game outside of the 15-second scare. 24 making some confident plays out there. Honorable players of the game to 10. And 88 for crushing popcorn in the press box. Stanley in YYC, I can confirm that neither one of them made an appearance in the press box. The only Oiler in the press box tonight was Tristan Jarry. Let's go to Louis, who texts in, says, great win for the Oil. So many good things about this game, but I'm wondering how long you guys think Regula has left on this team. Seems like every goal against the camera goes to him with this deer in the headlights look. Love all the shows EST puts up. I think we covered the Regula thing. Thanks for the text, Louis. Growing pains. Yeah, I thought he needed to be sent down at the start of the year, but he earned the spot out of camp. They obviously have a plan for him. Maybe concerned that he get plucked off waivers. I think we're consensus playing a little bit too high in the lineup right now, and we'll see if that changes. But again, 48 NHL games under his belt. This is his first full season. Of course, missed all of last year with a torn up knee. That also makes it tougher too. Let's go to Vincenzo. Kasperi, the answer, Kapanen. He liked what he saw from Kasperi. Atif says, the Oilers are smoking hot tonight. Can I get a win? Yeah, bring on the Jets Thursday. Atif. Bryce the Sparky says, Tommy, does Lazar stay in the lineup next game, or are we throwing Frederick back in? Bellsy, I'd defer to you on that one. I mean, I don't think you change anything after that performance tonight, but you would have a better grasp on how that plays out, especially when I think it's 7.9 million in cap sitting with healthy scratches tonight.
You win, you stay in, especially if you play that well. In my opinion, you got to keep the same lineup. And we've talked about it multiple times. So what have you done for me now, league? Mm-hmm. And yeah, there's 7.9 million sitting out, but unfortunately those guys haven't played that well, and they played their way out of the regular lineup. So the guys that are in it, they're working, they keep playing. And I would say, like, all right, boys, you got to show something to earn your way back into this, or else you're gonna have a nightly stint in the press box or the hot tub.
They definitely were not in the press box. I'll tell you that much. Tell me the rationale in not making an appearance in the press box. I have a thought on it, but just go ahead.
To be quite frank, I bet you they're probably doing a workout.
Yeah.
Guys they're not sitting in the hot tub as much as I made that chirp, but no, they're working out. They're doing stuff in the room. Just staying away from that spotlight, and they're probably in the lounge watching it as well. So be in the lounge on the couch, or would you rather be up in the press box on, hard chairs? I'd rather be in the lounge.
Fair point. It is a pretty nice players lounge at Rogers Place, that's for sure. But yeah, Tristan Jarry, the only Oiler up in the press box. Quick update from Reid Wilkins, who is in the Oilers Hall of Fame room. He just had the Chris Knobloch availability. Reid will be joining us when he returns to his satellite studio after he makes his way back home. Knobloch says it looks like Henrik will be out for a little while. I know for a lot of Oiler fans, very frustrated with Adam Henrik's output offensively. Rightly so. He has been a ghost offensively. Most nights you don't really notice him. Heck, we didn't notice he wasn't playing till midway through the second period. And you can only give him credit and benefit of the doubt for his face-offs and veteran presence for so much and for so long. Outside of that, he has not been the same guy that they traded for around the deadline 2 years ago, where he had a solid offensive season. Hasn't been that way for a couple of years for him now, and that's certainly frustrating. This is the last year of his deal. All right, Bellsy, let's take a quick look ahead to Thursday in Winnipeg. Second time that these two teams will tangle in a short period of time. What do you got to see from the Oilers on the road in Winnipeg?
I think you got to see the exact same game you had in the second and third period. They got on the forecheck. They were consistently, challenging the defensemen. They made it hard for the opposing team because it was wave after wave after wave, and they consistently were trying to get to the paint. And, Connor was one of the lead dogs in that because every time he hit that ice, and especially when he crossed the blue line, like he came with a ton of speed and he was trying to get to the net as much as he possibly could. And I don't know if there's been, an emphasis put on getting to the net, but it seemed to me like there was a lot of plays that ended up like multiple bodies in front of the net. So that was one of the things that I thought was good and a nice adjustment. And you're going to have to do the exact same thing against Winnipeg. It's a struggling hockey team, and put the pressure on them right out of the gates because you are going to win if you have that same kind of effort.
Okay, as we say goodbye to Bellsy, keep him on here for a sec because people are texting to him in the nasty chat. It's pretty funny. Chief Andy says, I'm in a hot tub. What a coincidence. And then Chief Andy also says, hope you get better soon. A hot tub would help you sweat that flu out. And then who else had something on Bellsy? That was nice. Very nice of you.
People have been chirping me the entire time. Somebody told me that, I can't really use it, but
I know
they just kept saying that I lost a ton of weight. Like, oh.
I thought you were getting jacked and juicy. Wasn't that your thing?
Well, sometimes you got to lean out to get jacked and juicy,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Knock on wood, you get better and not more sick. So rest up that voice, big boy, and we'll catch up with you. Are you on the hangout tomorrow?
I'm on the hangout tomorrow, buddy.
All right. You'll be in fine form. Sweat it out tonight. Wear socks to bed, whatever you need to stay warm and not lose that body heat. It
sounds good, Tommy.
Sweat it out, bro.
Yeah, just sweat it out. That's all I got to do. Yeah.
Just sweat it out. All right. I'll see you tomorrow.
See you, boys.
There you go. There's our game analyst, Shawn Belle, with the raspy voice. Hopefully he's good to go tomorrow. He says that he went to Japonais Bistro on 124th Street. Or no, it's Jasper Ave and 116, I think.
No clue.
I think so. Anyway, and he had a green tea and he lost his voice. And then he went to a Rebel, I think, for his birthday. And he had an old fashioned and his voice came back. I just think he's full of, what? And he's still on. I see him right there. You're so full of it. He's shaking his head. He had something lingering, probably an illness cooking in the background, and hopefully he can shake it off by tomorrow morning. So good job by Bellsy to gut it out tonight. We always appreciate it. Great work from him. All right. A couple of texts, and then we'll go to the locker room. I saw a few people and Andrew, the accountant, and a couple others in the nasty chat with the same theme. So I actually got a tweet. Somebody tweeted me about this. Andrew, the accountant, says the three black holes offensively don't play with Henrik getting hurt, and suddenly people can make plays again. Crazy how that works. Yeah, they haven't been good offensively at all. I mean, Mangiapane had very short spurts where he had a couple of games where he put together points, but mostly black hole. I think that's a fair assessment. Henrik's offensive game is gone. No denying that. And then Trent Frederick's time as an Oiler has been pretty rough, and that's being nice. So yep. I can't argue with that. And a few people have brought it up, and yes, you're right. Absolutely. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm biased towards Curtis Lazar, but when he plays, he actually just does what fourth line guys are supposed to do.
Does the job. That's all we're asking for from the bottom six here is
do
your job. And Curtis Lazar does it. For me, he doesn't deserve to get pulled out of the lineup for it.
Yeah, I don't think you changed the lineup, but who knows what Chris Knoblauch does on Thursday. All right, let's go inside the Oilers locker room. Benny, I'll let you pick who we hear from first.
I mean, this guy was going to be my player of the game. He doesn't fit my rules, so I'm curious to hear about him. This is Kasperi Kapanen from the locker room tonight.
After a long week.
Yeah, I mean, it's always great to get on the scoring sheet, but for the most part, I felt pretty good, and the body felt good, which is important, and the leg, obviously. And then, at times I think you could notice I haven't played in 2.5 months, but all in all, I thought it was not a bad effort.
The first 6 games of the season, it looked like your game was pretty strong. Did you feel like you picked up right where you left off?
Yeah, I mean, it always takes a little while to kind of get used to things, and it doesn't matter how many practices you have until once you start playing, then, you know, kind of ease into it a little bit. But yeah, I thought I started off the season pretty well, and today was a step in the right direction, so hopefully I can keep it up.
I have to ask about your teammate, Connor McDavid. Is this the best hockey you've seen him play in this stretch?
I mean, is anybody surprised here that, you know, this guy's doing this stuff? It's you know, I've been watching it for, you know, obviously I've been hurt, so I've been watching it, and it's just remarkable what he can do with his speed and his hands, and it seems that he just sees everything out there, so you know, just happy to be on his side.
You talked about last year how you kind of in the playoffs you really found kind of that level of consistency that you've been searching for. Started again this year, and I know it's only one game, but just the importance to find the consistency but combine it with a little offense.
Yeah, I think that's kind of been throughout my career. The consistency is one thing that hasn't been the best, so I think I'm trying to kind of focus on that and just be consistent and kind of just accepting the role that I've been given, which is, you know, just with me and Pazzi, just get on pucks and try to get them back to Leon and get open, and you know, if we score while doing it, then, you know, that's just a bonus. So I think today was a good example of that.
And how about the team game? What did you like about your team game?
Team game was great. Guy individual efforts, and then just the team effort was good. Obviously, the third period wasn't a great start for us, but I think after those 2 goals, we kind of settled down and started playing our game again, and just a big win for us today.
I almost didn't recognize you when you shaved. What was the reason for shaving right before?
I just wanted just a kind of fresh start, and but I'm kind of regretting it now. I feel like I'm 14 again, so but it'll grow back eventually. So hopefully more quickly than slowly. So yeah, barely. I mean, she says she likes it, but I think she's lying to me. So, but we'll see.
All right, so happy Kasperi Kapanen after picking up a goal in his first game back, as well as an assist. 14:33 time on ice, 3 shots, and 5 hits. That's good to see. We know this team doesn't have a lot of guys that get physical, and Kapanen certainly is capable of that and showed it again tonight. 1 giveaway as well for Kapanen, gets his first goal of the season. And that's good to see. So a little bit of chuckling and some jokes in the post-game scrum, and rightly so. More of that. That's why they like to moonlight him in the top 6, Benny. Maybe he doesn't stick around there, but he gives you a few good games in the top 6 and then kind of drops off, and then he finds his game, then they stick him back up there, and it's kind of this up and down cyclical thing that happens with Kasperi Kapanen. At least it has in his time as a member of the Edmonton Oilers, but good to see. And then, he shaved his face and whatever. Looks like Kasperi Kapanen without facial hair. So whatever works. If it continues to lead to offense, keep shaving it, whatever. Yep. Yeah. Let's get to a couple more texts before we go back inside the Oilers locker room. You can text us 780-218-9999. Jump into the nasty chat as well. Let's go to Chris G. Says, is Wallman back next week, and where are they putting him? Chris G, man, these timelines we get from Chris Knobloch are always off. Haven't noticed. I didn't see Wallman on the ice today at the optional morning skate. But, you know, if he's back in a week, I'd be surprised. The sooner, the better. Maybe that helps Regula play where he should, slot him down. But as for right now, that brings up a good thing to talk about, actually. If Wallman is good to go, or when he is good to go, would you just slide him in alongside Darnell Nurse, move Regula down, maybe take him out of the lineup, and then leave Spencer Stasny in Brett Kulak's old spot with Emerson? Because I think Emerson's actually, you know, on the flip side of Regula, Emerson, I think, has been steady in the 12 to 14 minutes he plays a night.
I think it's kind of the Oilers' theory is that Ty Emerson's going to be your number 6. Partnered with Spencer Stasny. Okay, let's throw Regula here as a placeholder for Wallman until he gets back. Yeah, to me, it's a pretty quick. You swap out Regula for Wallman 1-for-1. At the start of the year, I thought Regula won the 6-man role over Emberson, but to me, his play as of late has turned that around a little bit. And Emberson, I think, has only gotten better as the season gone on. Him and Stastny have really good chemistry. And again, Stastny, like, I'm, to be honest with you, shocked that he's been this smooth of a fit coming into Edmonton. I thought that Brett Kulak loss would be a big one for this team. It still is, a loss with the experience and all that. But I mean, what we're seeing in these regular season games, Spencer Stastny seems like he's pretty damn good as well. And can play at a pretty solid number 5 role for now. And so I go Wallman in for Regula 1-for-1 and call it there.
It makes the defense better. Can't deny that. Yeah. But then if you really want to dive deep into it, you go, well, how does Regula get more experience? How does he get better? How does he find his confidence? I think the answer would be send him down. But there's a risk with that as well. All right, let's go to Adam from Lloyd. Says, hey, boys, Jekyll and Hyde tonight compared to games since Christmas break. Team overall seemed a lot faster with Henrik, Frederic, and Mangiapane out of the lineup. By my eye, Roslovic, Howard, Savoy looked better as the game went on. Ingram solid. Regula struggled a bit. Needs to play lower in the lineup. Captain, hell of a first game back. Draisaitl loves playing the Preds. Have a good night, boys. Thanks for the text, Adam. Good to hear from you. Let's go to this one. I don't know what that one from Vancouver. I don't know what that one's saying. I'll have to look at it later. Liquid Beaver says, hey, boys, take a look at the stat line on the Devils Islanders game. Devils outshot New York 44-24 and lost 9-0. Yeah, we're talking about that tonight in the press box. That's crazy. Stupid Peter texting it says, Tommy, how unusual is it that scratch players aren't in the press box? It's really up to them. Some like to sit up there. Some like to mingle. Philp, when he was still a member of the Oilers, was always up there. Other guys don't want to bother. Actually, you know what? McDavid and Draisaitl, when they aren't playing, usually sit up there.
Oh, really?
In the preseason, they were up there. If one of them gets hurt, they usually sit up there. But that doesn't happen very often. And then Stupid Peter adds, Hudson scores 2 in the first period in Bako tonight, really forcing the Oilers' hand. Love it. Yes, more of that. That's good.
This brings up a question I was going to ask you. Assuming Henrik is out next game, just kind of judging off of him missing the rest of the game in Knobloch's comments, what do you do? Who do you fill in for him? Is it as simple as, do you just bring in Trent Frederic, or do you send a bigger message and you call up Jones or Hudson and you play them? Like it would be ballsy. It would be ballsy to call up Hudson tonight. And Jones. It would be ballsy to be like, hey, Trent, we gave you an 8-year deal. Yeah. We're going to call up a guy from the AHL to play a spot that you should be playing in because you haven't been playing good enough. But same time, though, you're wanting to send him a message. What's the point of him sitting in the press box that you're trying to send him a message?
Right. So, Now, if you really want to embarrass him, and keep in mind you have 7 years left of him on contract. I don't know if it lasts that long with him as an Oiler. I know a lot of Oiler fans probably don't want it to, and I get it. Well. But if you do that, you're not sending him a message. You're deliberately embarrassing him. Maybe even more so than just healthy scratching him.
Yep.
So I think it would be logical to just slot him back in and say, hey, we need you now. And then, I mean, it feels like with Mangiapane, that relationship is fraying or has frayed.
Yeah.
And they're just waiting to get something done with how they just keep sitting him. I could be wrong.
Yeah. I mean, this would be, you'd be giving Frederic a pretty decent opportunity. You just saw your whole bottom 6 do pretty well today. Okay. Yep. Join this, coming off a good game unit here, Frederic, and don't disappoint them. My thing is, I just don't think he's got it right now. At least I just don't think he's got it. I don't think one game does it. We've seen it twice now. Yeah. I don't think the third time's a charm with him. I think you give him one game. If you don't see it, I just got Stupid Peter with a text call. Clattenburg, sure. Him, Jones, Hudson, don't care. They've all had bigger impacts than Trent Frederic had as this year. So I'd be willing to give them that. Yeah, I'd be willing to give them the shot.
Okay, let's go back inside the Oilers locker room. The guy with the hat trick tonight, Connor McDavid. Here he is.
Just the team game tonight. nice you guys established pretty early, just kept it rolling. Feel that way?
Yeah, I liked a lot of things about our game tonight. Obviously, it's a good start for us. Kind of rode it all the way through, was solid all the way through. A little bit of a lapse there early in the third, but thought we did a good job regaining.
When you got a hat trick earlier in the season, I asked you about that goal from the odd angle, and you remembered the one in Dallas. So do you remember every penalty shot and what your stats are now?
No, I don't actually. No.
4 for 8.
4 for 8. All right.
So you're up to 50.
That's all right.
What were you thinking going in on that one today?
Just thinking to score. I don't know, trying to score. Come in on different angles, come in from both ways now, and just trying to find a way to find a hole.
Connor, I know you don't like talking about yourself in your game, so excuse me, but 17 goals in your last 16 games, 39 points. Is this some of the best hockey you felt like you've played in your career?
Yeah, I'm playing well. I feel good. Doing a lot of things good. But it's a credit to I think ever since Nugent Heisey got back and put that line back together, it's gone well. So fun to play with those two. Fun to talk about the game, grow our game, work on our game together. Makes it a lot of fun.
25 shots on net in the last 3 games. Is that just the way the games are unfolding, or is that something you're making a concerted effort to do?
Well, we've had this conversation lots, us group. So you guys like to talk about me shooting the puck. I've said I want to shoot the puck, and I'm shooting the puck. There you go.
I think of Kaplan in the first game in those 2.
I thought he was really impressive. Disappointed for him on how everything went. Disappointing, obviously, the first injury, and then to re-aggravate it right when you're really close to coming back. It's that can be discouraging. Credit to him for sticking with it, coming back and looked great. Provided a spark for us. Played physical, scores a goal, sets up another. He was great for us.
Okay, there's Connor McDavid, a hat trick for him tonight. Goals 26, 27, and 28. Very nice. First goal, thing of beauty. Penalty shot goal, thing of beauty. Third goal, great give and go with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. They chuckled about the puck there, and some people in the NASA chat were saying, I wonder what they said. I don't know. He's probably joking, saying he wanted that puck for himself, or why did you want this puck? Something like that, I would imagine. And good for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, longtime Oiler, will hit the 1,000 game mark soon here in an Oilers uniform. The only other guy to do that is Kevin Lowe. Kevin Lowe at 1,037 regular season games in an Oilers uniform. Nugent-Hopkins had a chance to do that this year. I think he had a 4-game buffer, obviously was hurt earlier in the season, and won't be able to do it this season. He'll surpass Kevin Lowe next year and become the team's all-time leader in games played following this season. So great to see Nugent-Hopkins pick up his 500th career assist, and I think he has an outside chance at 1,000 points if he continues to produce half decently for a few more years, and very happy for him. I've enjoyed covering him since day one as an Oiler. That was my first draft back in 2011 in Minnesota when he was drafted. And I can tell you, as good of a player as he is, he's an even better human being. So well done. Congratulations to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins picking up his 500th career assist. Okay, you said that text from BC was a good one. It's actually from Kelowna. I had to go back and read it because it was a 2-parter, and I had skimmed the second part. So I was like, I don't know. It was more of a programming note, but it was actually a good text. So Mac from Kelowna, welcome. Thank you for the text and really appreciate it. Says, hey, boys, huge fan of the show. Really enjoy the breakdowns and analysis you guys provide. I'm actually an Avs fan, but if they aren't playing, I've always enjoyed watching the Oilers with the magic Draisaitl and McDavid can create, and the storylines that come with it. Tonight's game was another example of the quote-unquote big boys showing up and leading by example. I wonder if Frederick managed to take any good notes from the press box. If it isn't tenable to be a healthy scratching a $3.85 million player, but playing him is almost worse. What do you guys think a realistic outcome is for Frederick? Whether it's a trade, if he waived the no movement clause, or sending him to the AHL. Keep up the great work, lads. And then Mac from Kelowna adds, also, in a recent episode, you guys were saying where people find your show. Well, as mentioned, I'm an Avs fan. I actually started listening to the Locked On Podcast Network. Good network. I started the Locked On Oilers one way back when, and then Hernan actually took it over from me, and then discovered Locked On Oilers. Fell asleep one night listening to that, woke up, you guys were on. I've been listening ever since. So I'm glad you found us that way, Mac, and we really appreciate it. So I think that's Reid on his show, our Drive Time show, that asks, or maybe it's Dusty on the morning show that asks where people find us or to tell their friends. But Mac from Kelowna, appreciate that very much. I think that they just keep playing Frederick and hope for the best. They kind of try to bash a square peg into a round hole, as frustrating as that might be. But the fact that they're scratching him now is to send him a message. It's been rough, man. It's been really rough. I don't know if they want to just get rid of him. I was saying to Reid today in the press box, the best thing for him might be to just go through this miserable season, unplug from hockey for like a full month in the summer, and then come back, turn the page, and be refreshed and try to get back to being what he was a couple of years ago with the Bruins. I don't know who would want to take him right now with how poorly he's played.
If there's picks involved, I think a team would take him. But but then Frederick would have to waive and a bunch of stuff. Yeah, it's not happening. For the Oilers, you invested an 8-year contract into this guy. You can't really give up after 1 year. As much as I think it'd be nice for Oilers fans and their cap situation, all that stuff. You don't give up on an 8-year deal within the first half of the first year. So yeah, it's you're stuck with them. And the way there's two ways you can look at it. You can say this is a horrible contract, or you can look at this and say this is rock bottom. You know, everything sky's up from here on out. And I mean, I don't know. I don't see a whole lot of upside in the rest of this year, but I agree with you. I think it's for how he's going to turn around his career is disconnecting from hockey for a little bit over a summer. I think it's probably his best bet.
His whole time here has been bad. Let's just admit it. Yep. He was supposed to replace Kane's toughness, and a far cry from what Kane brought physically night in, night out. We don't need to get into the Kane stuff. I think that the team needed to move on from him, and they took care of that in the offseason. All right, let's go to BDA Boy. I hope I'm reading your handle properly. BDA Boy texting in for the first time. Welcome. Says, given what Stetcher has done in the Big Smoke and the glaring issues that Regula has, did Edmonton make a mistake? Surface level, yeah.
Right now.
But, yeah, absolutely, yes. I think they're probably looking at this more down the line. Regula, develop him. Hopefully he turns into second or third pair, consistent, reliable defenseman. That would be best case scenario, but they need to invest time and effort and all of that money into him. And I think him being a Stan Bowman guy from his days in Chicago and drafting him, I think there is a willingness to do that right now. It's not pretty. It's painful some nights, like at certain moments tonight. But so the answer is yes right away, but I think they're thinking more long-term with Regula. And that's why they gave up on Stetcher. And Stetcher, don't get me wrong, he gave you everything he could, but there were some nights that were pretty rough for him as well with this team. So I get where BDA Boy's coming from. And actually, he's not the only one that's brought that up. Totally understandable. All right. I see Reid Wilkins is ready. Is he ready? Give me a thumbs up, Reid. Rick. Yep, there he is. Let's bring him in. Reid Wilkins from the Reid Wilkins Show, Monday to Friday, 3 to 6 on our fine station, alongside Jay Milne and Zach Kubish. Good job today, Benny, filling in for Kub when he was feeling under the weather. It is Reid's Read, brought to you by our good friends over at Ewell, your power play specialist. Ewell has the gear you need for your next electrical project with 3 Edmonton area locations, and you can order online anytime at ewell.ca. Ewell, your Edmonton-based partner in power and source for all things electrical. It was electrical tonight in that building, or electric, I should say, Reid. People very excited and amped up for the McDavid hat trick. Draisaitl, a few points, some hits from Kasperi Kapanen, a couple of big, huge saves from Connor Ingram. Are these guys awake? Have they shaken off the cobwebs? Can we have confidence in the Oilers going into Thursday? So many questions. Give us all the answers, please.
Yes. Okay. Sure, Tom.
Thank you.
Yes, no, yes, maybe, yes, no, yes, yes. No.
Hang on. I need a pen.
But, well, okay, first of all, I mean, let's not ignore the headline here. And I know you guys aren't. McDavid is spectacular. I mean, he's flirting with 3 points a game over the last 5 weeks. I mean, that doesn't even make sense, really. But it's spectacular tonight. I mean, almost every time he's on the ice, he wound up with 10 shots on goal. I was there for his post game, and I heard you guys play it, where he was like, "You've asked me about shooting more. I want to shoot more. I'm shooting more." End of story. Like, and he probably again passed up a couple chances to shoot tonight. He's just spectacular. I mean, we know he's spectacular, but this is just one of the best streaks of his career, if not the best. Because again, I think we have to look at it in the context where a lot of these games since about the start of December, there hasn't been much else from other areas of the lineup. You know, there's been the power play, Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, Draisaitl, Bouchard, I guess, getting points. Leon hasn't scored as much lately, so he just continues to be absolutely spectacular. I thought that there were more noticeable shifts from the depth players tonight. You know, I thought that they forechecked better than they have been. I thought they were more of a nuisance in the offensive end. And then they scored. I mean, that was an important goal by Lazar because that really shifted it in the Oilers' favor. Like, yes. McDavid makes it 2-0 on the penalty shot. The crowd is really excited. You know, but Nashville's probably like, okay, so he's beaten us. You know, we still got time. And then quickly after that, Lazar scores on the simple play, forecheck, go to the net, hack it on the goal, see what happens. And Lazar also almost got another one in the third period. You know, I asked Chris Knobloch about Lazar, and he praised him. And now, especially with Henrik injured, probably going to be out a little while, which in Knobloch speak is anywhere from 5 days to 5 months. I think it's going to be hard to take Lazar out. And look, I want Lazar to succeed. I mean, we all know he was in Edmonton before. A lot of fans and media got to know him as an Oil King.
Yes.
But this is the thing with Lazar. He plays, what did it wind up at? 844, 13 shifts, 3 shots on goal, goes 5 out of 9 in the faceoff circle. A very respectable night.
And what did you say to me about his 8 minutes tonight? Right,
that he will make them count, that he will be noticed in them. And that's why I often push back when fans say, well, this guy's not getting a chance. Well, he can't do anything in 8 or 9 minutes of ice time. Sorry, you can. You can. So, Trent Frederick, Andrew Mangiapane aren't struggling because their ice time is low. Their ice time is low because they're struggling. Like, you can't just keep putting a guy on the first line in the top 6 because he's quote unquote supposed to be there. And I know what happens with some players, and pro sports isn't equal for everybody, but Curtis Lazar, and he did a scrum after the game, and he was asked a lot of the same questions he was asked 3 or 4 weeks ago when he talked. Like, he loves being in the NHL. He loves hockey. And he knows a lot of people would kill for just a shift in the NHL, and he gets a few a game, maybe not every game. So if he has to sit on the bench for a long time, fine. If he has to kill penalties, fine. If he gets the opportunity to play in the offensive zone, he's not going to waste it. So you can be noticed in the time that you get. I get it. This is a strange team sometimes because it has 2 big stars on it. And a lot of the coaches that they've had have ridden them hard, especially when they're behind. But, I don't buy it that, well, Mangiapane would play better if he got 20 minutes. Well, Frederick would play better if he got 20 minutes. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. So you cherish the minutes that you have. and make them count. I mean, the simple math is Lazar's play. I mean, I don't want to. I'm almost getting tired of talking about Frederic because I don't want him to become a whipping boy. But
he already is.
It's there.
Regula's close
Lazar's basically
now.
played half the number of games as Frederic, and he scored 1.5 times the number of goals.
Yep.
And Lazar never got to have some shifts with McDavid and Draisaitl or anybody like that. So I do think that's a good story, and that bodes well for the Oilers, that you have a guy who knows his role and is willing to accept it and make the most of it. And then I think another story for me tonight is Ingram had a very good game.
Yep.
You know, he did not have a good game against Boston. We talked about it, Tom. There were at least 2 bad goals, and I'm probably being generous, more likely 3, and you could probably even make an argument for a 4th if you really wanted to pick it apart against Boston. Solid tonight. I mean, yes, Nashville got 2 in quick succession, but, you know, in 4 of his 5 starts, Ingram has not given up an eye-rolling goal or a goal that felt like a backbreaker. What's that?
Boston, he did.
Yeah, Boston, he did, but in 4 of his 5 starts.
Yeah, my bad.
He's been good. You know, he hasn't given up a deflating goal that gave the other team a bunch of life. So that's good. That's good for him. And now you wonder if they go back with him. I mean, Pickard had the big game against Winnipeg.
Yep.
So do you go with him again because it's in Winnipeg again, or just say, no, we got to keep seeing what Ingram has? That's
a good problem to have. I think you ride Ingram. I think they've committed to giving Ingram a real chance to take the second or the backup spot. But if you get Pickard back in there, I think he's going to be just as motivated as the last time he played in Winnipeg. It's a good problem to have.
And they got a structure. Like, I know you hear a lot of different things about how the goalie schedules. I mean, Knobloch said most recently they're kind of going 2 games ahead. When they talk earlier in the season, it sounds like they have more of a longer term sort of plan that they can always change. But I also think you have to structure things around the back-to-backs, right? So you almost have to look at that Monday, Tuesday back-to-back and then sort of count back from there. So if you know they're splitting those 2 games, then how do you want to do the games before and after that?
Okay, Reid Wilkins with us for Reid's. Reid brought to you by Ewell. A big topic of conversation tonight, and I think it's fair to bring it up, but Alec Regula's name's come up again. People pointing out some of his tough moments. I looked at you in the second period. I'm like, hey, you know what? He's actually made a couple of decent plays, trying to look at the positives instead of just focusing on the negatives. But he finished -2 again, Reid. And, he's kind of under the spotlight for the wrong reasons. Played his 48th National Hockey League game tonight. And, where do you stand on this? Because he can't shake some of the ire from the fan base, and I get why. And that's why I remind people, this guy's barely played in the NHL.
Yeah, well, I mean, he makes mistakes. You know, it's not great sometimes. He does make good plays. I mean, he's not all negative. Yeah. I mean, he's even made a couple dangles where he's got in and got a decent shot on net. I think I wouldn't want to give up on him, like you said, after 48 games. I think maybe he becomes the 6-7 with Emerson once Wallman is back. And, geez, I didn't even.
You did it.
I didn't mean to do it, everybody. I apologize.
Sorry.
Wow.
But I think he gets into that role if Wallman's back and everybody else is healthy, and then you can ride the hot hand or alternate them or have a little bit of internal competition there. Like, I think from what I've seen, I think Regula would have a higher end than Emerson if he can put it all together.
Right.
I agree.
I think to some extent you have to give him the chance to put it together. Like we've seen. Now he's not a direct comparison to these players, but we've seen Oscar Klefbom struggle early in his career.
Absolutely.
Justin Schultz was thrust into an unfair position.
Yep.
But like these are players who eventually became pretty good NHL players once they found a role. So I wouldn't want to throw Regula out already, especially since it's like, hey, like we talk about this all the time. The farm's not bubbling over with guys ready to come up here,
especially on the back end.
You know, so yeah, I mean, so I think it's good he's getting experience. I get the frustration, like he's made some big mistakes. Maybe the frustrating thing maybe for me is, and I'll ask you guys this, like, is he a big guy who doesn't always play big? Like, he plays rangy, he plays with reach, but has he ever really crushed a guy or even firmly sort of rubbed a guy out into the boards?
No, he's lanky.
And right. So
Emerson plays more that style.
Right.
Emerson
would probably try to hit more and be a little bit more physical.
Yeah.
So that's the thing there is, and a lot of times if players don't hit and don't play mean, they often just don't have that in them. They're not all of a sudden going to blossom into that while they're already in the NHL.
All right, 780-218-9999. How close is Jari to being back? Well, again, like Reid said, take whatever Chris Knobloch says with a grain of salt, a big one, a Himalayan pink
2
grain
weeks.
of salt.
He said 2 weeks.
He said 2 weeks, but
do you think Jari? I asked this on my show today. Do you think it's possible Jari doesn't play till after the Olympics?
Yes. I mean, there are fans, and I've seen it on our text line throughout our shows on our station that it said, let him rest so he's good to go after the Olympics. Whatever is bothering him, whatever he wasn't fully healed from and still got thrust or went back in to play for the Oilers, let that rest. Get it to 100 or as close to 100% health. And if the Oilers keep winning games and are doing good and are at the top of the Pacific Division, tied with the Golden Knights again, by the way, with 48 points, Golden Knights 2 less games played, so they have the advantage there. Buy him some time to rest. He's on LTIR now. Now, injury-wise, what can you tell us about Henrik? Speaking of injuries.
Yeah, just that Knobloch said he doesn't have an update, but it looks like he'll be out a little while. And he said a little while with the understanding that it's not a short period of time.
And you hit on that early too.
Yeah, it's probably, a little while, as in maybe a few weeks or something. That's what it sounded like.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, but he was there waiting with the scratched and injured players when the players were coming off the ice. So I didn't see a cast or a boot or a wrapping or anything like that. And clearly he didn't need to be getting treatment, right? But I guess he got hurt in the first period. Yeah. So at least he was there and walking around. But yeah,
it could be a hammy or something. I don't know. I didn't even see the play. It could have been innocuous, but we'll see. All right, Reid, give us a peek ahead to Thursday in Winnipeg here.
Are the Jets at 10 without a win?
Did they? They
Let
lost
me double check
because Riley Smith.
6-4.
They scored. Riley Smith scored 4 minutes left to tie the game. And
they wanted it. It was an overtime. So the Jets are 6-4 in their last 10.
Yep.
The Winnipeg Jets are last overall.
Unbelievable. First in the league last year. Last overall in the league as of right now.
Well, I mean, look. Here's the thing with the Oilers. Hopefully they get a good goaltending performance. Hopefully the depth guys can sort of start to pick up a little bit of momentum. That's still a big if. I think we know McDavid is going to be flying. And look, Winnipeg's last. They're 10 points out of the playoffs, so they're probably still thinking they can put together a run. But I mean, this is tight in the Western Conference, right? And I realize, and rightfully so, a lot of people are talking about let's finish first in the division for the first time since Tom Gazzola was in diapers.
87. I was in diapers.
You were literally.
I was 1.5.
Yeah. So, but I think games like that, and the Oilers play a lot of Western Conference games, as we know, because games like this are still important. Because,
absolutely.
The Oilers could still be in a wild card position at some point this season. I think they're probably going to finish in the top 3 in the Pacific. So, keeping Nashville a little, the Oilers are now 6 points ahead of Nashville.
Yeah.
Nashville wins tonight. It's just 2. And Nashville's thinking, okay, because Nashville's not reeling in a team in their division.
No. And
the top
Edmonton
3. So they're thinking wild card.
Edmonton could have dropped to 8th tonight.
Right. So Nashville, to the teams like Nashville and to some extent Winnipeg have to think like Pacific Division teams.
Yeah.
That these are the 4-point games against when it's a lower Central team against a Pacific team. So I think try to kick a team when they're down. Like this is pro sports. This isn't house league. This isn't charity. That's why I don't have a problem with McDavid being on the ice in the last minute and scoring a hat trick. I didn't have a problem when Vancouver beat Edmonton 8-1 and had their power play out in the third period a couple years ago to start the season. So get out there and jump on the Jets. I'm sure they feel terrible at themselves. The Oilers got to have the attitude of adding to that misery.
Reid, I'm going to leave you with this text. It's from Brandon. Brandon says, my U13 girls team I coach tells me that now that it's a new year, 6-7 is no longer a thing. So it's all good, Reid. My theory is adults started doing it, and now the kids no longer think it's cool. I love that, Brandon. Yeah. I hope that you're right. No more of this.
It's been that
no more of this. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I feel bad I used it. I didn't mean to be using it there. I actually use the term 6'7" defenseman all the time.
Yes, I know. It's
Maybe
taking good things and ruin them.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, go cool off, big boy. You were a hot little tamale tonight, and I'll see you in studio tomorrow, okay?
All right, thanks, Tom. Thanks, Ben.
There is Reid Wilkins with Reid's Reid, brought to you by our good friends and proud partners, eWell, your Edmonton-based partner in power and source for all things electrical. Okay, there's a few texts we'll get to wrap things up. We do need to get to the turning point of the game, brought to you by Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy. Connor McDavid's got a team of specialists. You have a bag of frozen peas. Get the same locker room approach trusted by the best in the game at Advantage Sport Medicine. Book your assessment today, www.advantagesportmed.ca, or call 780-460-9977. I'm going to go to the moment that this one officially or pretty much was put on ice. You had the Preds come back with a couple goals 15 seconds apart. O'Reilly on a rebound, then Blankenberg on a screenshot beats Connor Ingram. I'm not going to blame him for either one of those, really. Maybe you could blame him for the rebound. No, I'm not going to. I thought he was pretty good overall. He was calm, cool, and collected. But Leon Draisaitl scoring against the Predators like he tends to do at 13:46 from Kapanen and Podkolzin. You knew it was over. No comeback for the Predators. Go away. Go back to Nashville. End your 7-game road trip with a loss in Edmonton. Draisaitl gets that 5-2 marker. I thought that was the turning point of the game to put it on ice. And then McDavid emphasizes that at 19:03 on a nice little give and go with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. But the Draisaitl goal, his 21st of the season, is going to be your Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy turning point of the game. What say you to that, Benny?
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty bang on.
Thank you.
One of the turning points I had earlier was the Nashville power play early in that second period.
That the Oilers killed off?
Yeah, it was pretty sloppy play. Oilers were at 1-0, but it didn't really feel like a Oilers 1-0 lead. But right after that power play, the Oilers came back with a really good push. Some sustained ozone pressure, and eventually resulted in McDavid getting a breakaway, turns into a penalty shot. Then right after that, Lazar scores on a nice fourth-line goal. So, but yours is pretty good too. Yeah, there was a pushback there with Nashville to start off third period, but the Oilers quickly turned that around and scored with Draisaitl's goal there. So that was good.
Benny, I made a note at the end of that PK. Ingram made a nice save on Bunting late on that PK, which was good. Help, give the Oilers that momentum, like you said, and then they went and got a couple more goals. All right, let's go to the Damon Bunting Real Estate Player of the Game. Damon Bunting, consistent, top producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 18 years. He's community driven and understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Please check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Ben Thomson, the floor is yours.
Man. I have a lot to choose from today.
You certainly do. A lot of good performances.
A lot of really good performances. To me, it's got to be in the bottom six. That's been the whole headline, is this bottom six needs to be better. It was much better today. I wanted to give it to Kapanen. He's on the second line tonight, but he's in the 3-star, so I'm not going to. I got to. Curtis Lazar, in under 9 minutes of play,
Nice.
Scores a big goal. He's a very lovable guy in Edmonton from back in his Oil Kings days. It's hard not to like Curtis Lazar. That's what I was seeing in the Nash chat, and I 100% agree. Always smiling and knows his role. Plays fourth line center, gets out there under 10 minutes every night, hits guys, causes chaos, pots in the odd goal. So I think he's doing a pretty good job. And tonight was another good one. Gets his, I think his third goal of the season.
Third goal, yep.
Yeah. So, good for him. Happy to see it. And I hope they stick with him on the fourth line because he's been pretty damn good when he's playing.
They got results, man. It worked, and it was certainly better than anything Mangiapane or Frederick's done all year. Can't deny that for sure. Picardi won via the nasty chat says has to be Cappy, Benny, and you wanted to go with him.
I wanted to,
but you have this rule that you try not to go with one of the 3 stars, and Kapanen was one of the 3 stars. Chris Max says round of clicks for Lazar, player of the game. Oh yeah. I'll do that.
I could have went, contain yourself here, Tom, but I could have went Matthias Janmark because I thought he had a pretty good one too. But
he did have an okay game.
I thought he made some nice offensive touches, and he basically created that Lazar goal with the turnover, a good back check there. But yeah, Lazar I thought deserved some love. So
nicely done. There you go. Damon Bunting, player of the game, DamonBunting.com, and check out his Instagram, Damon Bunting Real Estate. Good stuff, and updates quite a bit, and not in an obnoxious way. So great guy, and he's been on board with us since day one here at EST. Let's go to Zach Wildest in the inbox. Says, wasn't Jari put on LTIR retroactively? Yes, that happened today, and it was to get Kapanen activated. So absolutely, Zach Wildest. Stupid Peter says the Oilers have a relatively easy schedule up until the Olympic break. They need to separate themselves from the rest of the Pacific. Great opportunity to be leading the division heading back. Yes, absolutely, Stupid Peter. We are with you on that one. AJ in Montreal says Quinn Hudson, 2 goals and an assist against Abbotsford tonight. Just saying. AJ in Montreal, we're with you, buddy. What else does he have to do? I don't know, but we were talking. It was a debate today, I think, on EST Afternoons with Hernan and Joaquin. Like, what does Quinn Hudson have to do? Is it Knobloch not wanting to play too many young guys? We saw a couple of good moments from Mike Howard today. That was nice. Savoy picking up an assist, mucking in front. Little steps in the right direction, I think, are certainly encouraging. All right, Benny. Thursday night, Oilers in Winnipeg. You have to make it 11 straight games without a win for the Jets, don't you?
Stomp on their throats. Let's go. Like Reid was saying, this is not a charity tournament. Or this is not. You can't take them lightly. They're winless in 10. They're the bottom of the league. I understand that their team is probably better on paper than what it shows on the standings and with their points. But you got to capitalize on a struggling team. And if you want to turn this thing around and give yourself a chance to go on a winning streak, you have a great opportunity on Thursday to beat a struggling team in Winnipeg. So go get it done. Build off of this win against Nashville tonight, and hopefully we'll see the Oilers' first winning streak of the year.
That would be nice. El Presidente backing you up on your Damon Bunting Real Estate Player of the Game says Lazar deserves it. A lot of great candidates. Thank you, El Presidente, on behalf of Benny. And then on the McDavid hat trick, my parents had date night at the game tonight, thanks to their good friend Larry Ring, who's also a nasty. And my dad said, big finish. And I texted him and said, did you throw your hat? That was a solid win. He says, no, don't want to lose a good hat.
I have once thrown my hat for McDavid hat trick at Rogers Place before. Yeah, I actually ended up it was a hat that I didn't wear a whole lot. For some reason, wore it that day. And Connor McDavid had a hat trick that night. I had lower bowl tickets, like the only time in my life I've had lower bowl tickets to an Oilers game. And sure enough, McDavid gets a hat trick. It was against Calgary, and it was pretty nice. Let that one fly onto the ice. It was a good feeling.
I understand. You get into it, a couple hundred hats on the ice, always fun. Yeah. I've had a few hat tricks lately for the Oilers, and that's good. That means the offense is churning, which is nice. Benny, you do not throw that hat you're wearing tonight anywhere. Okay, you keep that thing nice and fresh. That's a nice D-backs hat. I've got the one that's got like the diamond kind of snake skin look on top. Yeah. And I know they went away from it, and that's why I'm like, they're not going to keep this forever. And I love that hat. but it's a fresh cap. I like
I
it.
thought about going to that one, but yeah, I can thank my grandma, Gail Thomson, the one in the chat. She gave me some money on Christmas, and I needed some new hats. So went shopping and got some new ones.
And by the way, like to all those who threw their hat, they get donated, and which is great. But some of those hats now are like $50, $60, depending on like how rare they are, what company, if it's a new era like that. So it's a financial sacrifice, but sometimes in the moment, people are just like, you know what, may as well toss that thing. All right, so the Oilers win at 6-2 over the Nashville Predators. That's a nice win for the Oil. They'll look to make it 2 straight when they go to Winnipeg on Thursday. We are live for that one. The pregame show gets going at 5 o'clock. We're going to cut into the Reid Wilkins show. And then, of course, we'll have the postgame show for you. We're not on location until January 13th when we're back at Boston Pizza Clairview. So that one will be in studio. Join us for all of your pregame prep, and we'll get you set up for that game on Thursday. Tomorrow morning on the Nielsen Show, Lieutenant Eric and Dusty, alongside YouTube Trev, will recap this game and much, much more. That's going to do it for EST programming tonight. Be sure to join us tomorrow. You know we always appreciate it. Thank you for texting. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Have yourselves a great night from Benny, Belzy, Reid, and myself. Ciao for now.